Welcome to another episode of the Binteger's podcast. My name is Binteger. I'm the host of this podcast. This is a place where we discover and explore and expand our awareness of integrity. This is where integrity calls and wholeness responds. So glad to have you joining in on our 22nd episode of this podcast. I am so excited about the existence of this podcast. This is the place that makes me so happy to spend time as I create content and as I learn for myself, as I share my insights, and as I encourage and try to inspire you to join me in committing to living a life with integrity. Today, our topic, we're talking about the way I'm saying it is not accountability. The A word I'm thinking of is authenticity. There we go. Our authenticity needs more integrity. Our authenticity needs more integrity. I'm going to dive into that and why I believe that just trying to be authentic is not enough. I think we should be pursuing even further to be living with integrity. But stay tuned, because first and foremost, we devote some time on this podcast to doing a feelings check-in. Feelings check-in is what I do in my 12-step program that I'm a part of, and I've come to really appreciate this discipline. It's just a momentary check to see how you're doing in this present moment. And I love it because it encourages me in this moment to be walking with integrity as I practice honesty and self-awareness, as I try to take a temperature read of what's going on inside and where I'm at, and then to be able to articulate and express it and share with others. And this is a huge thing because once upon a time, this did not feel safe to be able to tell people how I really feel. So in this present moment, let me tell you how I'm feeling. I'm feeling excited because I've got a dear friend, a new interest coming over to spend some time this evening. So I'm anxiously awaiting that. There was also a lot of worry because certain plans didn't work out that had been long invested in. And so there was just a whole investment there of trying to make things add up. And it was quite a challenge. So there's a bit of worry as well, but that is dissipated now to anticipation and excitement, because let me tell you, the topic I'm talking about today, the reason I'm talking about this today was I was at a going away party last night for this dear friend. And sometimes those conversations that come up organically, this is one of those that came up. And it's not the first time I've talked about it, but I realized this is something so at the core of what my convictions are. And I want to share it with you guys. I want to share it just as a way of putting my ideas out there for consideration, and also that you could push back if you think that there's something that I'm missing along the way. I'm going to grab a quick drink because I'm thirsty. One of the things I love about the way I record my podcasts, I don't cut anything out. I just go straight through, and what you see is what you get. I am thirsty though, so I'm just going to grab a quick drink again. Hold on. Thank you for that little intermission. So I appreciate it's just straight up raw. That's how I appreciate it. You're seeing me in my thought process as I go through. So that's where I'm at in this present moment. I love being able to use these cards that I've come to rely on so much. These are the emotion cards that are part of the Love Smart cards that I have found tremendously beneficial. And these are the cards that describe pleasant emotions that arise when your needs and your longings and values or desires are fulfilled. And I'm going to read through a few of these, and you could probably say something along the lines as I read them of saying, I'm feeling whatever emotion this is, because these are the emotions that usually happen when your needs, values, and longings are being fulfilled. So the first few I'm going to read for us here are as follows. Blissful, happy, alive, passionate, and serene. Which of those do you resonate with today? Blissful, happy, alive, passionate, and serene. Now, I also like to describe some cards that are in the other category, which is the unpleasant emotions. And these are the emotions that arise when our needs and values or desires are not being fulfilled to the degree that we are longing for. And you could say something along the lines of, I am feeling nervous, insecure, vulnerable, numb, or self-protective. Once again, Which of these are you feeling or resonating with? I'm feeling nervous, or I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling vulnerable. I'm feeling numb or self-protective. Those are just a handful, and I share them with you just so you can start having more vocabulary to describe what's going on, because this place inside of us, both in our minds and our hearts, is an amazingly, like, it's so amazingly magical in here. Like the ups and downs, the variety of things that happen emotionally and the ways that we feel, and sometimes it's really helpful, I feel, to expand our resource of how we describe what's going on. So let me dive into our topic, though, for this podcast today. Our authenticity, I'm saying, needs more integrity. Now, before you think that I'm just bashing authenticity and saying it's not worth anything, that's not what I'm saying. Let me talk a little bit about authenticity. Today, I believe from my observation that authenticity is highly esteemed. It's so praised. It's something that is celebrated broadly. Everyone wants to be authentic. People include it in their business names. They include it about themselves, saying, I intend to be authentic. And that's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing because there are so many who strive to experience it and are desperate to see it in their lives, but struggle with it. And so when they interact with people who have this approach to authenticity where they're owning it, they look with admiration and they cheer them on, saying, man, I wish I could be as authentic as you. And some of those challenges that make authenticity difficult for most include like the social expectations that so many feel bound by. Culturally, we're supposed to act or behave in this way. I'm just taking everything down here. You know what it's like when you're like really thirsty and you can keep on drinking and drinking and you start feeling it like filling up your tummy, but you just keep on drinking? That's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to just put my water bottle far away. But yeah, so authenticity, like there are so many constraints that people feel socially that restrain them from actually being and expressing who they are. There are fears of being vulnerable, like there is visceral memories that many have of how they've been hurt, and they remember that, and they say, okay, that's the last time I'm going to be authentic and share how I really feel. And so they kind of hide that part to themselves. There's others who feel the sense of judgment and self-doubting of themselves because they're like, my self-worth, there's no self-esteem, like there's nothing for me, and so I feel so insecure, and so I can't present my real self. I can't be authentic, right? And then there's others who maybe lack self-awareness. They genuinely have lost touch with who they are and what it means to be them. They've been so beaten down that they don't know what it means to inhabit and exhibit and take up space as they were designed, and they just they don't have that sense of self-awareness, which is a sad thing. And that is what I also relate with too. Once upon a time, I just had no frame of reference of what does it mean for me to be a Binyam? What does it mean for me to be who I am, the way I was designed and created? And so you don't feel that sense of freedom to express and to be authentic. Now, let me see if I can articulate the big difference between authenticity and integrity. So in my frame of reference, authenticity is, like most of us understand, being true to yourself with no frame of reference. Now this is a key part, okay? Listen carefully. Authenticity is be true to yourself, but you don't even have to think about how to be moral while you're being yourself. You could be yourself and be like an amazing person, or you can be yourself and be like a really terrible person. There's no acknowledgement of a moral framework that one has to subscribe to when they're pursuing being authentic. This is what we're celebrating today. Be who you are, regardless of if it's good or not. Just be yourself is what people encourage. By contrast, I believe integrity is being true to yourself, like by self-awareness of your values and then aligning with that. And so now you're bringing in a different language that was not even being brought to the fore in authenticity. If authenticity is just plainly be who you are without any frame of reference to the values that you subscribe to, that's what authenticity is, I believe. Integrity is authenticity, be who you are, while also having a radar for that moral framework. Bring in your true self, but you're also now placing it into subservience of a higher value or a moral framework that you subscribe to, saying, I am this. I'm like very open and vibrant and expressive, but I'm also going to do that while being respectful, while being truthful, while being patient, all these other things that you may value as far as your value set. So the big difference is they both have authenticity. It's just that integrity goes a little further and talks about the moral framework that one wants to bind themselves to and act accordingly with. Authenticity has no frame of reference to align one's actions to their values. It's just saying, be who you are. Integrity says, be who you are, but do it within a moral framework that you subscribe to and make sure those align, that your internal values align with your external actions. Now, both of them, let me just say, both require tremendous courage. It takes courage for one to be who they are expressively. To be authentic takes courage. But if it's authenticity that you're pursuing, while it does take courage, personal growth isn't necessarily guaranteed. Okay? But with integrity, even though it requires courage in the way you have to commit to this value system that you subscribe to and want to live by, there is a high likelihood, in fact, an almost certain chance that you are going to experience personal growth ongoing throughout life. And that's the big difference there that is so huge in the contrast. And that's why I say our authenticity, not your authenticity. I'm talking about us collectively, societally. I want to advocate for, can we move on from the conversation of talking about be authentic and start saying have integrity? Yes, be authentic, but also subscribe to what your moral framework is that you feel compelling. And then start aligning your actions to those internal values. Because in so doing, you're going to grow in self-awareness. In so doing, you're going to have that awareness that says, I know who I am and how I want to express myself. There's the authenticity part, but you've gone further now. And you've also said, I want to behave in a way that reflects what I really believe. What are your thoughts on this? Do you guys see the contrast here that I'm drawing? And so this came up in the conversation with this one individual last night. It was a great little conversation as she was telling me what she subscribed to. And then she asked, what do you subscribe to? Because she really values the authenticity piece. And I didn't want to kibosh that, but I wanted to affirm it saying, I love that we're pursuing authenticity, but I don't think it goes far enough. I don't think that conversation on authenticity cuts it. And then we can say, oh, we've arrived. No. I think it's far more beneficial for us to move further and say, let's also lean into, let's experience, let's derive that essence of wholeness. And that's what I love about the tagline of this podcast, Binteger's podcast. The tagline goes something along the lines of, where integrity calls actively, it's calling you, it's challenging you to step up. Where integrity says, step up and take on this challenge. And what does it promise? That wholeness responds. When we commit ourselves to living with integrity, when we see our internal values aligning our external actions, there's this wholeness that comes and settles over us, where we feel like finally, maybe for the first time in our lives, everything's aligning in a beautiful way. We don't have to watch what we're saying because we can just actually express with authenticity all that's in our hearts, because we know that our actions are also lining up. It's a beautiful dynamic. It's a transformative one. And that's why I love what we're doing in this podcast, because as we continue to explore what integrity looks like, small degree by small degree, we start taking on a new lens in how we see the world. And that's what I want to do through this podcast, is to give you another set of eyes to see through the eyes of integrity, and to commit to it, and to believe that it's possible for yourself. Some of you may be in the place where I once was at, where I thought, I don't think I'll ever be able to experience integrity because I've fallen so far. My dear Binteger, the fact that you're here listening encourages my heart. And secondly, I believe that every single human being, listen carefully, without reservation, I believe every single human being has this capacity, this access, this space that they can walk into where they can feel and experience redemption. And that is what I hope for you. So dear Binteger, dear listener, my challenge is, can we take this conversation of pursuing and celebrating authenticity, which is not bad, to the next level? Our authenticity needs more integrity. And I want to be a catalyst. I want to inspire you. I want you to join me so that together we can walk together and experience more integrity in our lives. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.